What up, my freaks? Ruinous Insight here with part 12 of my Iratus Wrath of the Necromancer Let's Play. Now, I know there's been a few days since the last update, but unfortunately I had a real busy time in real life. Things got crazy at work, but you know, it happens sometimes, it is what it is, and now, fortunately, we are back, or semi-fortunately, which I will get into in a second. But anyway, as we saw last time, we've been moving through Floor 3, or at least the beginning portions of Floor 3, with plenty of battles left to go, and I'm just trying to decide on the path. I think ultimately I decide, well, I mean, always I decide on the longest path possible to try to get as many resources and XP as possible. Next, we do have a quest coming up, but before we get into talking about that, I do want to note that you guys probably noticed that there is no sound coming from the game, so something happened. I believe a Windows update, frickin' Windows update, man. It did something screwy to either my recording software or to Windows itself, because it basically didn't record anything, and except the video, which is very, very strange. This, for those who've watched my last Let's Play of Iratus, you will probably remember this actually happening before, and I would actually be curious as to what the difference there is, because the last time I recorded it, it did record game sounds, but it did not record me. Anyway, wait, what is this? Oh, right, at this point I did decide to get Scythe of Life just because it heals the Reaper, and that does seem a little bit better. Yeah, so Windows Update screwed up the settings, and I did redo all the settings in my recording software, but that didn't seem to really fix it. I think that the issue was somewhere within Windows. The update might have screwed up some sort of internal identification for either my, probably both my audio and my recording, so whatever. Hopefully this particular video will be okay in the meantime. And for those of you who want to skip it, feel free to. The next video will be with sound once again, instead of me just talking, because it does certainly feel weird. And I am talking over myself in the past, so this is probably going to be very, very strange. Anyway, and this time we are going to start off with going into a quest, which should be pretty interesting, I think. I don't remember exactly what happened here, as it has been a few days since I've actually recorded this. Aha, so when you gather a large enough group of sweaty males, okay, all manner of prostitutes and courtesans are not far behind. What the mortals don't know is that these groups often serve as a wonderful mask for particularly carnal vampire covens. However, vampires are rather unique undead, and simply being a necromancer will not make them swear fealty to you. They are selfish, and so need something truly captivating to motivate them into abandoning their debaucherous lifestyle. How about the, you know, not being killed again or fully killed by Iratus? Isn't that captivating? I'll say you will parley with the coven in person. We have 4 options. Show them that you are a friend, starve them out, kill their food source, abandon the pursuit, or begin diplomacy. Now, begin diplomacy appears to have a success chance of 50-50, which is kind of terrible. With them will come blood, a lot of blood based on you're a friend. That's kind of unclear, but I don't know, they like blood. We can bring them blood. I don't know. I'm definitely not going to go with diplomacy. 50% failure chance outright is terrible. Starve them out, kill their food source. I do like the fact that that initiates a battle right away. What I don't like about that particular option is killing their food source seems like it might actually upset them. Now, ironically, with them will come blood, a lot of blood. I feel like I should have thought about what that means, i.e., it kind of gives you a clue as to what the reward is, because I am going to pick this first option as soon as past me decides upon it, as opposed to starve them out. I was basically trying to decide between option 1 and 3, an immediate battle or this, and there we go. There's the blood, lots of blood. You enter in the company of your minions, letting them exchange pleasantries. After confirming the willingness of their servitude, you are rather quickly able to come to an arrangement. So we got a free vampire out of it, and a pair of rare blood items, which is pretty darn good. I mean, we can upgrade them to legendary if we need. We haven't been getting, I think we have 1 legendary piece at this point, so, or maybe 2, definitely not a lot, so we definitely, I just said definitely like 4 times now. That word has lost all meaning. I'm so used to hearing the sounds out of the game. Anyway, they'll come in handy. Next up, we have a battle, 2 rogues, a swordsman, and a bard. The issue there, of course, being the fact that the swordsman will power up the rogues by virtue of the fact that the swordsman will constantly miss, and that's a pretty neat whatchamacallit. It's a pretty neat synergy that they've got there. Fortunately, as soon as we get rid of the swordsman, their rogues are not going to be nearly as threatening. Now, the rogue in the back line is going to go into a sneak stance, which means we can't remove it with the Reaper's expunge, because it doesn't hit the back line, as you can plainly see. And that means that this guy will deal 140% damage to a random minion, unless we can use Mr. Freeze to knock him out of it with one of them Ice Lances. But of course, the stance adds a 33 evasion to the already hefty evasion of the rogue, I believe. So it's definitely something to be a little bit concerned about. I doubt it can kill anything because we do still have all of our blocks up, and I don't remember whether any of these particular minions have the ability to remove everyone's block. I'm just gonna change some sound stuff here, apparently. I didn't even remember doing this. Hopefully, we'll see whether this is actually good next episode. Oh, man. Alright, let's see what we're looking at here. And I'm willing to bet I'm going to go Ice Lance, and I believe that it does miss at this stage. No, it does not miss. Alright, well, like I said, it's been a few days. So at least that guy's stance is gone. We're going to pop that Vengeance Beam on everybody, try to get those curses everywhere. Of course, the unfortunate bit about Vengeance Beam is that the Bard can delete it with her power-up, but she's not going to do that. She can remove the... Ooh. She's gonna buff this fella. Instead of the 40% damage, it's quite a bit, but fortunately we can remove it with Mr. Freeze once again. He does have a lot of stuff that he can do. The thing I was talking about the Bard is that she can remove debuffs off of her entire team with a single ability in the same way that the Mummy can, which is certainly annoying for the Mummy, because the Mummy does rely on those curses in order to heal itself. And I actually decided to go for the Swordsman's debuff or buff instead of the Rogues. I wonder why I did that. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. They're both gone now anyway. Alrighty, and yet another Vengeance Beam on everybody. Yes, the curses are likely to get removed, but at least it still does regular damage in addition to the damage over time, so we can still keep dropping their sanity. Plus, this particular group isn't really all that great at tackling our group, so I'm really not that worried. There we go. The Swordsman goes insane immediately, and he goes into panic, which is unfortunate for us because he does gain extra regen. There's the remove debuff off of that Bard, but at least the Bard has moved all the way to the front, which is definitely going to be a problem for her as soon as we can get rid of the Swordsman. The Swordsman, in fact, uses Protect at any cost to protect the Rogue in the back line and prevent us from breaking its stance, but we can use Expunge to break the Swordsman stance and then try to throw an Ice Lance at the back line. Unfortunately, this particular Ice Lance does miss. I guess that was the one I was remembering earlier, and that doesn't really work out. I was actually checking what the accuracy was on the Unfrozen to see what the likelihood of that missing is, but this guy has 74% evasion. That's pretty damn nasty. I mean, what are we supposed to do about that, right? Alrighty, and now I'm looking to, I believe, eat the Swordsman here, but I think that this is going to be another miss, especially since he's in panic. He's got 46% resist, and there we go. That's an unfortunate waste of Wrath. I really do got to pay attention about wasting high Wrath abilities when there's a high chance to miss. I wanted to get rid of the Swordsman before he got any of his attacks off, but unfortunately not the case here. And at least the Mummy can continue with its curses. Got a crit curse on the Bard. I believe the Bard can actually remove debuffs, but not from itself. So as long as we drive the Bard insane, that will be good. And it's not like she can remove Insanity. You can't be inspired after Insanity anyway, so yeah. Actually, while this fight is going on, and it's pretty plain what we're gonna do. We're just gonna keep spamming Vengeance or Dread, not Vengeance, abilities until these guys all have Insanity and die of heart attacks. I'm just gonna briefly discuss the patch that came down a few days ago at this point. And that patch was pretty interesting. It actually decided to power up a lot of the old minions that we had. Well, obviously we're not really using a lot of the old minions in this particular Let's Play, but things like the Zombie, the Bride of Iratus, Dark Knight, all those guys that that were considerably weaker compared to the Reaper and the Abomination. All the new characters are starting to get driven up in terms of their performance ability, which is pretty interesting. I guess you do have to match the power creep. This is a problem in a lot of games. DLCs tend to release things that are really powerful as compared to the older stuff. I know that in Total Warhammer, this was a major issue with old races just obnoxiously outperforming new races, rather, obnoxiously outperforming old ones, but that does get fixed in mods and stuff. So these guys are being proactive, so good kudos to the devs for doing that. However, one of the problems is maybe they're buffing the older minions a little bit too much without buffing the enemies themselves. I guess that makes it more of a reason to play it on the higher difficulties as opposed to lower difficulties. And speaking of the higher difficulties, I would have replayed this if I could have, just to keep the sound of the game in. But obviously this game is played at good always wins, which means you can't actually save. So A, if you lose, you lose. But B, if you screw up the recording, you have to do something about it. Or, I mean, at least the video got recorded. If the video hadn't got recorded, I wouldn't have been able to do anything about this. Also, I'll try to get another episode out today, just to compensate for the ones that we missed out on. Man, I still have to get to comments and stuff. Damn. So much to do. So much to do this weekend. Anyway. Looks like this particular battle line is just about dead, or what, the Adventurers battle line, I suppose. They're all insane now, and two of them are about to have a heart attack. I'm assuming that one will have a heart attack right now. There we go. The Swordsman is out, and the Bard. Good job, Mummy. Get revenge on that Bard for removing all of your curses. You didn't appreciate that one. Yeah, see, the thing about Unfrozen here is that it has a ton of utility. The unfortunate bit is that it can't really do any— oh, how dare you try to escape. The unfortunate bit about the Unfrozen is since it can't do dread damage after the utility is no longer needed, it doesn't really add too much in terms of the in terms of helping finish off enemies, as it only does the physical damage as compared to everybody but the Reaper's final ability. But hey, it's all good. This battle is over. We haven't been hurt at all. This was not a particularly threatening fight. Hopefully we'll run into a little bit of a better one there. Now this time I am taking a look at the Scythe of Life, trying to figure out what kind of damage it does, because equal to 800%, that is a change from the last time. That's some kind of— that was a change from the patch, because it used to say 400 for this version of the Scythe, and then 500% for the other one. Now it says 800 and 1,000, I believe, but I don't know how much— ooh, hello, rare piece of flesh, nice, that'll definitely come in handy, and the level 19 brain on top of it. That'll really come in handy, at least because we need to pop one into, I believe, the— looks like the Ghoul, maybe? Especially if we can get the next level of Arena. I don't really care about the Lost Soul, even though the Lost Soul is a super useful minion. I did use it quite a bit in the other Let's Play, so probably no need to start using it now, unless we run into a major problem on, like, the new floor or something, or even the fourth floor. As I recall, the fourth floor was the biggest jump in difficulty when I played this last time. But I guess we'll see. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm probably talking about leveling up the Ghoul and putting it in the arena so that we have both teams, yeah. As soon as the arena's done, we will have two teams ready to go, and then we can start switching to the physical team when we run into enemies that are particularly good at resisting the Dread team. Although I do have to keep in mind that certain things on the fourth floor, like those— there was like a sharpshooter minion, or minion enemy, or something like that, that had a really nasty stance, so we do have to be able to remove that thing so as not to have to get screwed by it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but we'll run into it in a couple episodes, obviously. Alrighty, let's see what we got up next. Now, the dead air sounds a lot weirder when there's absolutely no sound here. And there we go. Oh, it looks like the Abomination got itself a ability level, and I obviously am going to go for Gut. 15% chance to stun with a slice. In the unlikely event that the Abomination actually uses a slice, pretty decent. A very nice emergency stun. 15% with 3 attacks. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. Now we do have these rare pieces of flesh. I do believe I actually level up the Abomination with something here. Maybe. I'm looking at the fact that it's 20 Digger's Souls to upgrade from a common item to a rare item, And then I'm wondering, what would the cost be upgrading from a rare item to a legendary item? Or a part, whatever. And come on, Pastor, let's just drop that flesh in there. Come on. The A-bomb needs more flesh, clearly. Whether to nom or to be, part of it. Go, go, go. Oh, man, okay. Almost, yes. Digger souls, I'm aware. I'm waiting. Yes, replace current item. There we go. Upgrade 80 Digger's Souls. So the cost is actually pretty significantly upgraded, which does make sense. So it looks like it doubles every time. So it goes 20 from common to rare, and then 40 from rare to uncommon. Oh, wait, no. 40 from uncommon to rare, rather, and then 80 from rare to legendary. Doubles every time. Which is quite a bit. I mean, 80 Digger Souls right now is very, very much prohibitive, but I suppose if we have enough items left at the end, I guess this does mean more management considerations here. Because we'll have to consider which parts to use on, an enchanted heart. I've been waiting for one of those for a long time. I've been talking about this particular bit. Minion restores 5% of its max vigor. Very, very useful. And I think that's going to go on. Actually, don't think I decide right away. Nails of Pain is also interesting. Increases critical chance, reduces enemies' crit ability, but still. Obviously going to be the Enchanted Heart. Very, very good item for tanks. Now, the question is who to put it on. The Mummy is a really good option, as I learned from my first Let's Play, because the Enchanted Heart, on top of all the healing from its curses, just makes it heal massively. However, there is another item similar to the Ashes of the Burned Witch. I forgot what it was called, but it basically curses everybody upon using your ability. So if we were to use Hex Beam, we'd be able to get double curses on everybody, and that's double healing. And it might actually heal more than the Enchanted Heart if we were able to get another one of those items. Unfortunately, I did take the Poison Glands instead of it, thinking I'd put the Poison Glands on the Infested, but the Infested just keeps constantly getting hurt, which means I haven't been able to put it on it. So, oh well. Oh well. It's still working out, and yes, I was considering putting the Enchanted Heart on the Bone Golem, which does very, very good work, because the Bone Golem does lose a lot of its HP, because it's a Berserker-type minion, which uses its own HP in order to do stuff. But I guess we'll deal with it when the physical team actually comes into action, which I expect to be on the 4th floor, unless we run into something crazy here on the 3rd. And really need the physical damage. Like something like with 2 gargoyles, for example. Like, if we were to fight 2 gargoyles with our Dread team, we just wouldn't be able to hurt them. One is fine, because we could just kill it last, and look what we have here. A gargoyle and some sort of elite close combat elf, as well as a bard and a swordsman. But yeah, if we were to fight 2 gargoyles who are immune to Dread, that would be silly, obviously, with this particular team. We definitely have to rearrange the way that this team works. And unfortunately, while some of them can do physical damage, like the Abomination, the way that we have them currently set up is that they mostly do Dread damage anyway. It just doesn't have a lot of physical damage held up. Okay, there we go. Elite Elven Ranger is the fellow that I was talking about. Trying to read the feature, immune to stress attacks and ignition. So it's basically identical to a golem. Every floor seems to have a golem-like thing that you can't ignite or stress out. Alrighty, and we're gonna start by, well, we do have to get rid of the bard first, but it's gonna be hard to do anything until its ward and block are gone. We do need to drag it back with the, so what's the best way to do this? It's probably to try to use a Vengeance Beam on the entire team, remove the ward from the... remove the ward from the bard, and then use Mr. Freeze to drag it back as soon as that ward is gone. Instant Insanity and Betrayal on the Swordsman. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. It does mean we can basically ignore the Swordsman while it helps out and does, has a 75% chance to do damage to its own allies. One of the very annoying things about the Gargoyle is that right there, it can remove 1 block from the entire freaking team. And it's not even 1 ward, it's not magic, it just flies and removes everybody's block, and block is so expensive to level up and get that abilities like that are just the most infuriating. Not that it's a huge deal with this particular team, but on a higher floor, things like that, very, very Have to make you a little bit more cautious. Alrighty, there we go. Now, the ward has been removed from Bard, and the first thing we gotta do is move it back with Mr. Freeze, unless, heroism on the Elite Elven Ranger. That could be pretty devastating, and I do notice that the Unfrozen can actually move twice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the buff from the Elven Ranger first, and then we're gonna move again right after the Reaper, and then drag back the Bard as well. So, double up on that. I'm gonna go for an Agony of Terror on everybody. Keep spamming those stress abilities, and kill everything except for the gargoyle, because we can't really hurt it right now until we switch our team around. And there we go. The Bard is now forward. We can start dealing. We're going to pop that Dread Hunger on the Abomination. Prepare to start doing more and more Dread damage, plus buff up our passive Dread damage, of course. And another Vengeance Fiend probably going to be coming in very soon. There we go. Come on, mummy. Vengeance. Alright, double immune on the gargoyle. Betrayal, there we go. Now, it was great that it removed the Bard's block. What is unfortunate is that the Bard moved all the way back into the back line, which once again means we can't curse it with the Reaper. We're going to have to wait. We're going to have to drag it back once again. That's really irritating. Okay, there we go. We do have basically only the Dread Roar option, but if we use it, we might screw up. Hopefully, we don't accidentally move the Bard to the back like this. No, we do not just switch these two around. Well, that's just fine. A lot of the sanity, rather, off the Elven Ranger is gone now, so that's not going to be too much of a problem. There we go. Crit Curse. I'm surprised that the Elven Ranger hasn't gone insane yet. It's almost to 0 sanity. Petrify Stance. Let's see. Redirect to self a 50% chance. Trying to read here, Bard. Stop it. It's some kind of redirect. I think it's from people standing directly behind it. Wait. Looks like there's 2 redirect things up right now. And I don't... Oh, right. I decided to remove the stance, but it looks like it didn't actually remove it. So I'm not entirely sure why the hell that was the case. Because it's a debuff. It's not a... Actually, it's not even a debuff. It's just straight up a removal. Support removes all buffs from the target. Interrupt stances doesn't miss. So the enemy should be immune to Insane or Inspired, but it's really weird that it didn't interrupt that stance at all. I really don't understand what happened here. Was it the fact that it had +2? Actually, if anybody could explain to me why that didn't work on the gargoyle, let me know. There we go. Finally, the insanity coming in that I was talking about, but unfortunately, the Elite Elven Ranger gets Panic, which is the most annoying one. Yes, it can skip turns, but that evasion, man. Man. I hope I remembered to get the ability that gives us more, and oh my word. Inspiration instead of dying. That's really unfortunate. We almost got the Bard killed, and unfortunately, while the Bard is alive, she's gonna just keep buffing everybody's Dread back up, or everybody's Sanity back up. Okay, now let's see. The Mummy has 2 debuffs on it, but the removal of Block and Ward and all that jazz really doesn't matter, because it doesn't really have any of it anyway. So we can just keep attacking. Keep attacking. Some terrible luck here with the inspiration, but hey, it does happen occasionally, and it's not a huge deal, especially as we're not really hurt. The thing about this team is it has a lot of sustain. Between the Reaper healing everybody and healing itself, and the A-Bomb healing itself, and the Mummy healing itself, really only the Unfrozen is under threat, and I believe it has the most Ward and Block, so it's pretty good there. But I suppose if somebody were to target just the Unfrozen in the same way that the second bosses decided that they really, really needed to kill the Infested, the Unfrozen would have a pretty darn bad time, and we would have to shield it with the Abomination to protect it. But we do still have that option if it were to lose all of its Ward and Block, so I'm pretty happy with that. I suppose if we were to use the War Golem, or the Bone Golem, rather, instead of the Abomination as a tank for a team with the Unfrozen in said team. The Unfrozen could then, we could then use the Bone Golem to recover the Unfrozen's Block and Ward, and there's the Block and Ward dropping that I was talking about. The Bard's gonna just keep this Elven Ranger up forever with its freaking, with its freaking stress or sanity recharge. How do you even recharge somebody's sanity? I mean, he's already insane. I feel like maybe when enemies have gone insane, you shouldn't be able to recharge their sanity. Does that make sense? They can't get inspired. Once they've gone insane, should they really be able to recover sanity? I don't know. Maybe it would make Dread Teams too overpowered if that was the case. That's probably why they didn't do it. But I demand logic from my, Necromancer games or whatever. There we go. Finally, the Bard falls. No more support, which means that the rest of these guys are going to drop much, much quicker. This particular battle actually took quite a bit longer than the last one, just because of that Bard getting that inspiration. And let's see, we got a bad miss on the Elven Ranger, unfortunately, which means it's going to continue being alive forever. And hey, this guy didn't even betray his allies. You need to work on that, buddy. Need to work on that. Alright, Vengeance Beam, I think, is the only real option. Although, I have said before that Vengeance Beam, once there's only 2 enemies left, it's probably less efficient than using Unforgiving Curse or Unavoidable Curse, whatever the hell it's called. Damn, Redirect. I wanted to remove that buff. But unfortunately, that's actually really good. The redirect on the Gargoyle against the Dread team. So it takes no physical damage, and it takes no Dread damage. Really nice. Really effective against us. Fortunately, we do have plenty of AoEs to actually stop it doing that. Are you going to fly in a NOS? No, you're going to debuff and attack the mummy, which is not a big deal. Fortunately, finally, a hard attack on the swordsman, and this freaking Elven Ranger that we've been attacking this entire battle is still alive. This was our main focus, other than the Bard, for the entire time, and she just kept him from dying. Man, please die finally. And obviously the Unfrozen has no way to do anything about this except if it were to crit. And it did not crit there, but, oh, he skipped his own turn. There we go, at least we got some benefit out of the panic there. And let's pop a Reaper's Scythe. Not enough damage, 148, but very, very close. We could just use Gut to finish it off, unless it survives with 10 HP. Oh, no, but it had a heart attack anyway, okay. I was about to get salty for my past self right there. But that's okay. Now what we need to do is basically switch our minions. The mummy has to move into the 3rd position so it can start spamming Clinging Wraps and start removing the luck that the Gargoyle has, which is pretty much the only way that we can really hurt it. Without something like the Spider or the Black Widow in this particular team with her ability to debuff enemies, armor, and resistance, we don't have a lot of ways to remove it. I don't think we have any way to remove it, so spamming negative luck and causing everybody to crit is basically the only thing we can do here. I really should try to look into getting somebody an upgrade that ignores not block but armor or something like that. Maybe I feel like maybe the Reaper might have one. I guess we'll find out. Alright, back to Clinging Wraps. Keep spamming that. This battle is of course over, and we haven't really taken any damage, so speak of the second I talk about not taking damage, we start taking damage. Alright, well, just keep spamming your damage as well. Nice crit for 60. Considering the fact that it had 21 armor, that's pretty darn good, and we're just about done here. If we pop a Reaper's Scythe, we should be able to finish it off. There we go. Everybody's healed up nearly to full except the mummy, but the mummy can fortunately heal itself next battle quite easily. We got 3 parts and a bloated flesh that we really don't care about, because unfilled squad slots is not the way that we're playing this particular one, unless something bad happens. And I don't remember why I was looking at this. So, let's just ignore it. Yes, we are going to tech towards Overwhelming Ire as fast as possible, I believe. The 10 Wrath would really, really come in handy. The Abomination in particular needs to be able to use its ultimate a lot more, because it's a really powerful ultimate. It both insta-kills and it does a ton of stress damage, so I would really like to be able to use it. There's an elite squad up here, and I was thinking about ending this episode there, but I was pretty excited to fight the elite fight, since it's one of those genuine elite fights with the skull over the icon. So I think we're going to go through the cultists and fight it anyway, especially if it is to bring us an entertaining fight, not one that's just sustain versus sustain like that last one was. Sustain versus sustain is really not the most entertaining thing to watch, is it? But it's all good because that one is gone. Just need to amp up our damage a little bit. If we can get that that item for the mummy that I was talking about, the spider's paw or whatever it is. I'm not talking about the spider mandibles. I'm talking about the one that's equivalent to the ashes of the burned witch or something like that, but for stress damage instead of for ignition. And what am I looking at here? I don't remember. I don't remember. Let's just head into those cultists. There we go. Come on, past me. Let's see what we got here. A bundle of dynamite, that's a one-use item, a pound of flesh, and it looks like we have copies of everything we have here. Cursed bandages, pound of flesh, and I believe I decided to take pound of flesh because we might be able to get a second abomination in for our stress, or for our physical team. And I believe we have 2 copies of the Rune of the Unfrozen already, but I don't remember which. Oh, that's probably what I was looking. There we go. There's the elite squad. Looks like 2 elite crossbowmen and 2 elite swordsmen. Now, I felt like this might be I'm just double checking if these are in fact crossbowmen that we're looking at, just looking at the elites and the way that their armor looks, and it does appear to be the case. Even though we can't see the elite versions of them in the human area. Well, we can the swordsmen, but not the crossbows, because we haven't those unlocked. Now, the thing is, I do feel like this next fight could be a little bit challenging, because it's 4 elites, but you know, we'll see whether it actually is. The thing is, the next fight, as we see 2 swordsmen and 2 crossbows, certainly can be threatening with regards to the damage that they can output, but there is absolutely no sustain to speak of. So as soon as they drop in dread, it'll be very, very quickly over for them. So it's a lot less concerning than it sounds. Now, we do have an upgrade for the mummy here. I actually don't remember which one I went for. I believe one of the upgrades is more negative luck, and the other one is negative luck for the entire battle. I feel like for the entire battle is better for fighting bosses, but I feel like also if we're fighting bosses aren't generally immune to stress, so we'd be doing an unavoidable curse there instead of those clinging wraps. I do decide to use one of these terrifying visages. It's not a great one-use item, it's only a 10% buff, so I'm just freely willing to sacrifice those just in case to get the little bit of extra edge against this particular elite fight, and here we go. I actually do wonder whether you get more XP and better rewards for killing elite minions or killing elite enemies than you do for regular ones. If anybody knows with regards to that, do let me know, because I would be curious if it is advantageous to take more elite fights or whether it's advantageous to avoid them, because they might be more threatening on the one hand in terms of how much damage the enemy elites can output. If you don't get a better reward, then what the hell's the point, right? Other than entertainment, of course, which is a reward in and of itself. All right, let's start dragging the crossbowmen back to the front line where they really don't want to be, most likely, and just start cursing everybody up. The real question is, who is more threatening, the swordsmen or the crossbows? The thing is, I believe the crossbows start doing damage immediately, i.e. they don't really need to buff themselves up, whereas the swordsmen, they start with a very low % chance to hit, so they're going to be missing a lot of their attacks while they buff themselves up. So we could start off by killing the crossbows and just debuffing the swordsmen constantly with the power of the Unfrozen. Looks like they do decide to target the Unfrozen. Perhaps the AI recognizes that it's the main threat to a lot of them, because it's the only one that can drag the enemies back unless we were to use clinging wraps. On the other hand, they're most likely attacking it because it has the least HP out of everybody, which is, I believe, the AI's focused. Only 95 vigor on the Unfrozen. That's like half the vigor of our tanks, so it's very, very fragile. I'm pretty sure it could actually get killed in one hit when it's lost its block and ward, so definitely have to be careful with that particular minion. Maybe try to level up some more resistance or something on it, because that's definitely concerning. Alrighty, let's start dropping. We got an insanity immediately, and everybody's starting to near half sanity already. And this is exactly what I was talking about. With no support on the enemy, they're all cursed up. 2 of them are ignited, and they're going to have a pretty darn bad time with this very, very quickly. There we go. There's another insanity, and this guy drops almost to zero sanity himself. Looks like a heart attack is in his future, and they're going to damage the mummy a little bit. Not a big deal. Going to screw up that block on the Reaper. And looks like another enemy drops near to 3 insanities and drop near to 0. So this is just about over. This is what I was talking about. I was concerned about this fight because it was for elites, but because they have no support, no sustain whatsoever, they just drop very, very quickly. I feel like this fight is actually considerably easier, despite being all elites, than the other fights we fought in this particular episode. And that really speaks as to how important team composition is in this particular game. You got to look out for the weaknesses of your teammates. There we go. There we go. 2 left. And hey, why don't you throw your dynamite sticks at us, or whatever the hell you just threw? Grenade? I don't know. Hard to tell. Hard to tell, and looks like we got one enemy, or it's about to be one enemy. I think we could remove a buff, or we could use an ice wave. That'll allow the mummy to move before them. Oh, there we go. Because we got a lucky crit, the other one died from a heart attack as well. This is going pretty perfectly. And we just finished the last one off with Terrify and Swallow, I believe is the name of the ability. There we go. And we got a legendary weapon out of it and a level 20 brain. Very nice rewards, actually. That probably answers the question for you guys, because it does seem that that particular reward was better than a standard reward. So it does seem like it's worth it to take more elite fights. I'm going to think about that in the future. Maybe try to beeline for more elites just to try to get better rewards. And there we go. We can finally take Overwhelming Eye, reduce that wrath cost of our abilities, which is really, really going to help out with the future stuff. Let's see what we got coming up next. And let's see, we got a Fountain of Vigor. Oh, there's another elite fight coming up quite quickly, so we can head towards that as we are moving through this place. I guess we're gonna go around like this. There's another cultist here and another elite fight. There's a lot of good stuff here. Ooh, hello, what is that? There's some kind of knight or something? I don't recall ever seeing that minion before, unless I'm mistaken and have forgotten about it. Oh, there's another elite fight there, or yeah, we'll have to think about this next time, I think, because obviously we're basically out of time here, and I am going to call this episode here. A couple more episodes, I believe, until we get to the boss episode, as I am trying to do this boss episode on every 5th episode, although I'm not doing it on purpose. It just seems like that's the way that it occurs with the speed that we've been moving at, so there it is. We do now have 2 legendary pieces. I'm tempted to pop the legendary rags on the mummy, but I think we're going to wait just in case something crazy happens and we end up losing, but that'll be another problem for next time. Hopefully, said next time will be with proper audio and hopefully later today. So with that said, as always, I do appreciate any and all feedback with regards to the gameplay or the way I do things on this channel. If you have a second, please do take it to leave a like and or a comment to support the channel. It really, really does help. As always, all glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching. Here's some dead air for like 10 seconds because I don't think I timed this properly. Well, whatever. Soul dissection, hateful dissection. I'll pick one of them eventually, next time.